you asked if you were answering questions, I'm a little bit more interested in like what you brought up. So you have a fan page, but you want to make a comment. Is that feasible?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And how does that work? Or where do we go to learn how?
I've
gone this my second
What's your
seminar,
business?
and it's all private school. So I'm with Pinewood School. We're independent K through 12 private
boy.
school.
Social media is perfect for me.
Right. And so we're there, right? But it's like now granting access, like, you know, and we've just definitely decided that it has to be our students, parents, the whole community, and discussion has to be open, and we have to have faith that we're not going to get, you know, inappropriate language and those types of things, that the integrity is going to stay. I'm more interested in knowing kind of like the top features of a fan page. Like, how do you do a link when you're posting something? How do you add a link? How do you add a picture? I tried to add a picture, and it's like, create an album. I'm like, I don't want to create an album. So that's where I'm kind of coming from.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
there's kind of two components here. There's kind of this general savviness, you know, understanding the concept, but there's also this nuts and bolts, you know, implementation. And I mentioned that that's a lot of what I would love to do for people is figure out the nuts and bolts. A lot of it is plumbing. That's what it is. You sign up for the account, you click this button, you do this, and then it works. But before you do that, you know, there are all these details. Some of you guys are tinkerers like me. You want to exercise total control over everything and understand all the details of what you're signing yourself up for. Others of you don't have time for that. You just need it to work. And I think, you know, all across that spectrum, I think we're here to kind of do some of those implementation details. We don't have, you know, a screen. It would be doubtfully useful even today to try to walk you through, you know, the 40 different services you could potentially sign up for.
Is
it
this
really
from
makes.
off from Facebook?
I'm sorry?
Is this all from Facebook?
What is off
The
of Facebook?
40 services that you're talking
Oh,
about?
no, just when we're talking about Facebook or Twitter or Yelp or, you know, there are so many different things. I think there isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. There are some things that are going to benefit your business more immediately and other things you could think about, but you know, I think that's the kind of thing where if it was up to me, I'd rather have kind of a one-on-one consultation. I'm more of a one-on-one kind of person. And
you know what I'd be curious about hearing is what's your take on the value and purpose of a Facebook fan page, where I've heard a big piece of it is when I fan something, all my friends see that, right? Is that the main point of it, or?
That's certainly a point. So when somebody likes your page, when they click that like button, these days they changed. I used to be a fan, but now they lowered the bar. Sometimes people don't want to be a fan, they just kind of like your service. So they lowered the bar. You can click like, and what happens now is the power of social media is now it posts to your wall that you like this service. So now everyone who's your friend sees, oh, what's this? You know, and they can go and they can click on it, and maybe they know about it, maybe they don't, but it's just another way to utilize people who benefited from your service. Now you're using them. They don't even work for you, but they just like your service, and it's kind of spreading that way. And the more people do that, there's a multiplicative effect.
So I just want a couple of quick thoughts here. So that open forum website that I shared is exactly what you're looking for, in addition to anything Kenneth made a very good point, which is I think the world of small businesses neatly divides into two groups of people. People with more money than time, and people with more time than money. And maybe that's a little too simplistic, okay?
We don't have either.
Okay, so we're going to do it all, right? So maybe there's a third bucket.
Sorry, just being honest here.
So in your case,
Don't tell Scott I said that.
it's DIY, right? It's do it yourself. So it's DIY. So go to open forum, and in the search field, type Facebook tips. And you'll get a whole bunch of articles that generally sound like this. The top 5 things to do with your Facebook page. 3 things to avoid when when your Facebook fans show up on your website. So that's one thought. Second thought is if you look in the status update, you asked a question about how to add a photo. If you look in the status update, just look really carefully. You'll see ways that you can do that.
Okay.
There's things that you can add to specific status updates.
Nicole, you had something?
I just wanted to say, like, for my mother, when she's been executive director of CHAC for years, and when she decided she had to know how to use she couldn't use an ATM card not that long ago, right? I mean, she couldn't even use her cell phone. I was like, this is ridiculous. So she hired a tech guy. I can't think of his name, but she hired this guy who taught her how to use a computer. She's better on a computer than I am now. I like go over to her office and say, here, do this for me. But she hired somebody to set up everything for her and teach her how to do stuff like that. Like Paul's helped me before and, you know, so she just hired somebody to help her, a techie person.
Jack, you had a
If
question?
you don't know how to do it, you can do that.
Yeah, I did have a question. My technical expertise makes Sam look like a wizard. And how long does it take to set up a page, a fan page, a LinkedIn account? And what's a reasonable expectation for getting something back from it? Like what kind of timing is there? I'm asking anybody.
So I have no time. And Kenneth is actually the husband of Stephanie who works with me. And Steph said, hey, my husband knows how to do that. Kenneth, because you had everything done really quick. So
It's
you did
really
Facebook
fast to
ads
set it up. The initial setup is not
less than an hour.
It's not the difficult part. It's the thinking through, planning, like, well, what do we want to do with this? And you know, but the setup, if we're just talking about the plumbing, you know, an hour's time you could sign up for 5 different services and even connect them all. But you know, do you want to do that on your time? Do you want to figure all this?
And I would add, it definitely is not the setup. I couldn't agree more.
But
A Twitter account could take you 5 minutes to set up. It's the decision you have to make to spend a few minutes a day, a few minutes every other day, engaging with these people and trying to get other people to show up. The upfront time is minimal.
Well, how much time to actually set up an effective Facebook page, a fan page you call it? And I've spent probably a total of 4 to 5 minutes on Facebook in my life, so to set this up.
You could have set one
No,
up
that's what
already.
I'm saying.
It's
If you were to,
it's
if you were
really
to have,
easy if you know
yeah,
what you want on it.
if you were to have somebody like Kenneth sit down and say, okay, let's set them all up and let me show you how to use all of them. Here's your passcodes. It is literally going to be less than an hour. And then you've got to get either BlackBerry or an iPhone so that you can do your Twitter,
You can't
which
do it
will
on your
populate,
PC, you have to do
populate
it
your
on
Facebook,
No,
which
you
will
can do it on
populate. You
PC.
can do
You can.
it. It's just,
You're
I'm
sitting in
mobile.
front
I'm
of a
never
PC.
sitting in front of a
Yeah.
computer.
Jack, here's what I would normally do with a client if I'm working with them who's interested in setting this up. I think the first thing is we sit down and talk about what assets do you already have. Do you have photos of your business? Do you have kind of reviews or articles that you would want? We talk about those, and then very quickly, once we set it up, we don't just have this blank page on Facebook, but we have content to add because people care about the content. You have about, what, 10, 15 seconds of an impression when someone stumbles into your page. Am I going to stay? Am I interested in this business? If you don't kind of have that content planned in advance to at least have up there, you're going to lose the repeat customers from that. So
And it's not like the marketing drill that Paul was talking about, right? It's
well, some of it's the human stuff, like the real photos. You know, this is what our practice looks like. These are the customers that we have, the happy customers, presumably. So.
But let's expand on that 1 second, which is the reason you're doing Facebook and the reason you're doing Twitter and the reason you're doing YouTube. This is about you and your customers. So actually, all that package stuff, some of it's important, but what you're really putting the stake in the ground to do is to speak with people on a regular basis, right? One-to-one, post things, let them talk with you. That's what you're looking for. That you can do, you don't need a lot of prepackaged anything. You just need to set up the page and then take a few steps to start having people link to you and then have conversations with them, which is something you're doing right now.
So you're accessible to them, and they can get a hold of you.